So, today we are learning about executive compensation as an integral part of compensation management. So, till now we have learnt what is executive compensation, what are the various types of executive compensation, what are the objectives or functions of executive compensation, and how the organization plans, or what is the process of developing an executive compensation plan. So, in this lecture we are going to discuss about the components of executive compensation, what are the factors affecting the executive compensation, and the principles of executive compensation. So, coming to the first topic, that is the components of executive compensation. So, there can be 6 components of an executive compensation plan. The first one is the salary, the second is the short term incentives, third one is the long term incentives, then is the guaranteed severance package, the perquisites, and lastly the insurance. So, let us discuss about each one of them, beginning with the salary. So, most executive compensation plans, they include a fixed yearly salary, which is also known as the base salary. So, as I said that there can be 2 components, the fixed and the variable. So, salary is the fixed component. So, companies often pay this throughout the year in a monthly or maybe a bi-monthly amounts, but mostly in India we have the monthly system. Then comes the short term incentives. So, short term incentives, they take different forms, but critically they are usually related to rewards for a year or less of work. So, one type of short term incentive is an annual incentive plan that you generally get at the end of the year for achieving certain results that are identified at the start of a performance cycle. Some other short term incentives can be bonuses. So, as a part of the short term pay, bonuses are a vital component of encouraging executives. They act as a reward for the work performed, but in the short term or for the short duration. So, if the contribution of the say a CEO and a CFO leads to multiple revenues for the organization, so then the organization and the executive compensation consultant may give bonuses as an incentive to them. Then another short term one is profit sharing. So, profit sharing is a plan whereby you share in your company's profits over a set period. So, normally there is a formula for profit sharing and it is followed in order to allocate the profits to the executives. So, another type of short term incentive is the spot award or spot reward. So, what a spot reward does is that it recognizes an achievement with regard to a specific task or project, and it is generally given on the spot. That is why its name spot award or spot reward. So, the moment you achieve something, you accomplish the targets that were set, you achieve your goals. So, at the same time you get the award or the reward. So, we do not wait for the entire year to end and then give the executive the reward, it is given on the spot. So, next comes the long term incentives. So, the long term incentive plans, they usually give rewards that are not tied to company share price. However, an executive is usually required to fulfill certain requirements as a proof of contributing to an increase in the shareholder value. So, the performance periods for a long term incentives are usually 3 to 5 years. Now, what is the objective for an employer paying a long term incentive? So, the objective is to provide a reward for executives that helps achieve the corporation's objectives with regard to maximizing the value for shareholders. So, if you are maximizing value for your shareholders, you can get this award. So, often the long term incentive compensation is a mix of equity and non-equity compensation, which is provided in the forms of stock options, performance shares, restricted stock, cash and stock settled performance units. And executives are allowed to buy company stock at a discount with the employer paying off the balance. The next component is the guaranteed severance agreement. So, what do we mean by a guaranteed severance agreement? So, this kind of an agreement, it protects the executives who are employed on at will or other basis in the event of termination without good cause. So, if the executive is terminated without giving a good cause, this is what he or she gets from the organization. So, a board of directors can fire an executive employed at will at any time and for any reason that is not forbidden by law. So, a severance agreement may be a lump sum amount or lump sum payment, or it can be a salary over a period of months. So, if not a lump sum payment, the agreement may pay an executive's salary for anywhere from a couple of months to a year or more. So, this is what we mean by a severance payment. Next comes the benefits. So, the executives may receive benefits like the health insurance, life insurance and severance pay that we just discussed. So, benefits can also include a variety of say paid time off, vacation time, holidays, sick days or bereavement days. Next component and most interesting is the perquisites or the perks, and this is the most talked about component of executive compensation. So, these are generally the special rights and privileges that an executive receives as a part of his or her compensation plan. So, the examples can be club memberships or even an access to a private jet. However, such incentives are offered by a very few executive pay consultants. Now, perks, they constitute a major source of income for executives. In addition to the normally allowed, paths like the Provident Fund, gratuity and the like, executives enjoy special parking, plush office, as I said, the vacation, travel, membership in clubs and well furnished houses. So, perks take care of all the possible needs of the executives, and executives are rarely required to spend money from their pockets. Their holidays, servants, telephone bills and even electricity and gas bills are taken care of by their companies. So, this is how the organizations, they actually pamper their executives in terms of the perks that they are giving them or offering them. So, the next topic of executive compensation is the factors that affect executive compensation. So, every organization does not give the same or similar compensation to its executives. So, what are the factors? So, first one is the company size. So, larger companies, they will typically offer higher executive compensation due to their increased complexity, broader scope of responsibilities and greater exposure to risk. The second factor is the industry. So, every industry would be different in terms of its profitability, in terms of the work they are doing, the complexity of work as we just discussed and the risk involved in whatever products they are making or services they are offering. So, the industry in which the company operates also plays a significant role. Competitive industries may offer higher compensation to attract the top talent. Then comes effective benchmarking. So, using the prevailing market rates before deciding the compensation of the executives. So, various consultants are employed by the compensation committees to determine the existing wage rate, so that the standardizing or standardization of these compensation plans can be done on the basis of this rate. So, as I just said, what is benchmarking is identifying the best in class in your particular industry and determining where do you stand, what best can you offer in comparison to the identified or benchmarked industry or company. Next comes market competition. So, companies competing for skilled executives may offer more attractive compensation packages, and market dynamics, they definitely impact the demand and supply of executive talent. So, this is a very basic economic principle of demand and supply. So, if demand is more, supply is less, so the compensation would be more and vice versa. So, what kind of market competition your organization is, that will again influence the executive compensation. The next factor is executive performance. So, compensation is often tied to performance metrics also, that what kind of profitability you are generating, what kind of revenue or growth are you bringing, what kind of even innovations are you bringing in your organization. So, high performing executives, they would definitely receive higher or better rewards. Then comes economic conditions. Of course, we understand that the economic cycle or the economic conditions prevailing in the environment, they will also impact the executive compensation offered to by the organizations. The economic cycles affect the compensation decisions, because during the economic booms, the compensation tends to rise and vice versa. The next factor is the government regulations. So, legal provisions, they also influence the executive compensation levels. Companies, they must comply with the regulations related to pay disclosure and limits. Next is the corporate governance. So, even the board decisions and governance practices, they also impact the compensation. So, transparency and alignment with the shareholders' interests are of pertinent matter, very important. So, the next topic that we are going to discuss now is the principles of executive compensation. So, the first principle is mission over strategy. So, the organization must focus on the organization's mission and purpose rather than just strategic goals. And further, they should align the executive compensation with the broader purpose of the company. The second principle says stakeholders, not just shareholders. So, you must consider the interests of all stakeholders consisting of your employees, your customers and communities, and not just thinking about the shareholder. So, executive compensation should reflect a commitment to all stakeholders and not simply your shareholders. The next principle is outcomes and not just milestones. So, this means that you must reward the executives based on actual outcomes achieved and not just hitting the predetermined milestones. That means what new things the organization is doing under the stewardship or leadership of that particular executive. So, is it what is predetermined, are you just doing that, or you are doing something new, something apart from what you have been told to do so. So, emphasize results that drive long term success. So, every organization today wants that the success or the growth should be sustainable in the long term. So, we are not just talking of the success that my organization gets today, but am I going to be successful in the coming future? Am I going to be successful and drive growth in the long term also? That is what every organizations or all organizations are looking forward to. So, that should be one of the principles of your executive compensation. The next one is the financial and non-financial goals. So, an organization must look beyond the purely financial metrics like revenue, profit, etc., to include long term or non-financial aspects of the organization also, like I just said, sustainability. So, is the organization moving towards being a sustainable one, and secondly employee well-being. So, is the leader, is the executive being able to give the employees a feel, giving the psychological safety to the employees, working towards the mental well-being of its employees. So, these are some non-financial aspects of the executive compensation. So, a holistic approach ensures a balanced performance. So, that again has to be taken care of. Then end to end cycles should be taken care of and not any overlapping. So, you must design compensation cycles that cover the entire business cycle, and you should avoid overlapping the short term incentives that hinder long term planning. That has to be taken care of. And peer performance and improvement. So, organizations must set goals relative to peer performance, encourage continuous improvement over budgeted performance. Now comes the importance of executive compensation. So, we have discussed at length as to what do we mean by executive compensation, and by now you must be able to understand the importance of executive compensation. So, it basically reflects the success of the company. If the package offered is good, that means the firm is making good revenues. So, it incentivizes the executives to contribute more towards the firm's or organization's success. However, a lower package will discourage them. Attracting and retaining top talent has been the priority of every executive compensation plan. So, competitive compensation packages, they attract the skilled executives to join and stay with the organization. So, not only attracting new people, but at the same time retaining the best performance. That is the importance of giving good executive compensation. Motivating performance, of course, well designed compensation, it motivates the executives to perform at their best. Linking pay to performance, it again ensures that there is an alignment with your performance with the organizational goals. Then aligning the interests with the shareholders. So, we cannot forget our shareholders also, and executive compensation should be tied to a long term shareholder value. When executives benefit from company success, they work to enhance the shareholder returns, and if not, then they will not think of the shareholders returns. Driving strategic decisions. So, compensation, it influences executives' strategic choices. Giving proper incentives encourages the decisions that benefit the organization's long term health. The next and most important, I feel, is retaining institutional knowledge, because these executives are people with great knowledge, lot of skills and experience and expertise, and retaining these experienced executives ensures that there is continuity, at the same time there is stability. Their knowledge and expertise definitely contributes towards the organizational success. Thus, the executive compensation, it directly impacts performance, decision making and organizational success. When you have a well structured compensation package that motivates leaders to drive growth and create value for all stakeholders. So, that should be the ultimate goal of giving a good executive compensation package to your people. Now that we have discussed about the objectives of executive compensation, we have discussed about the importance of executive compensation. Now, if you have advantages, if you have some benefits, then there are certain criticisms also. So, what are the criticisms of executive compensation? So, let us quickly learn about the criticisms of executive compensation. The first one is the income inequality. So, the issue here is that there is a widening gap between the executive pay and the pay that an average worker or an average employee gets. And the impact of this wide gap is that the excessive executive compensation, it exacerbates the income inequality within the organizations and the society, and that definitely impacts the morale of the employees. The next one is the pay for performance disconnect. So, we often say that the pay is aligned to the performance, but at times there is a disconnect. So, compensation is not always tied to actual performance. And what is the impact? The executives may receive high pay even when the company performance is poor. So, do not you think that the performance of the organization is a reflection of the performance of the executive? But even though the organization is running into losses, but the executives are still getting their fat paychecks. So, that is again a criticism of executive compensation. The next point that we will discuss is the short term focus and risk taking. So, what is the issue here? The issue is that the compensation structures that encourage short term gains only, and due to which the executives may prioritize immediate results over long term sustainability. So, if I am an executive, I might be just thinking of some short term gains or short term profits for the organization, not thinking of the long term repercussions that my decision could implicate. So, that is the criticism, that I might be taking some risk, focusing just on the short term gains and not thinking of the long term losses or long term sustainability. The next point is excessive golden parachutes. So, generous severance packages for executives even after poor performance or misconduct is a severe issue. And what is the impact? The shareholders bear the cost of such arrangements. So, a poor performance, a misconduct, or taking wrong decisions. But what happens is that the executive leaves the organization, gets the generous good severance package, which is called as a golden parachute. So, you land into safety, but what have you done is that you have put your shareholders into trouble, and they are the ultimate victims of your misconduct and your lack of judgment or poor performance or wrong decision. So, that is again a criticism of the executive compensations that organizations offer. So, friends, today we discussed about executive compensation, that it is the compensation which can be monetary, non-monetary, fixed and variable, that is offered to the top management individuals in the organization. And who are these top level individuals? They are the chief financial officers, the chief executive officers, the chief operating officers, the CHROs, etc. Now, these people, they bring in lot of knowledge, lot of experience, lot of skills. This experience could be from their previous organizations or in their current organizations. So, why is it so important? Because that is we can say a major chunk of the finances or the compensation that an organization offers. And why is it so important? It is very important because of the demand and supply, because getting these people on board is very difficult, because getting people of so much experience, skills and expertise is again difficult. And they are the ones who actually take decisions for the organization, leads their organizations towards success. So, if the right people are not there at the top management, then the organization can run into trouble. So, it is very important to attract such kind of people and at the same time retain your people, motivate them to perform to the best of their knowledge and expertise. So, that is why giving them a good executive compensation is of great importance today. And we all understand that this is an era of hyper competition. If you are not able to attract or retain your top talent, somebody else would. Somebody else or even your competitor would give a higher salary, a higher package, better benefits, better incentives, and they would poach these top talented people. So, that is why the main objective of executive compensation is number one, to attract new talent, to retain people, to maintain their managerial efficiency, to align their interests with the interests of the organization. Then we discussed as to what is the process of developing an executive compensation plan. We discussed about the types of executive compensations being short term, medium term and long term. And then we discussed about what are the components of any executive compensation. It can be the salary, the benefits, the perks. So, we talked about the perks at length. And lastly, we discussed about the criticisms of executive compensation, because it creates a lot of income inequality. Then there is a pay for performance disconnect is observed. Then the short term focus is there, and the executives, they just think about the short term gains, overlooking the long term sustainability and long term repercussions. The excessive golden parachutes that are offered, and ultimately what happens is that the executive leaves the organization, gets a good severance package, and they land the shareholders into trouble, who have to bear the cost of the decisions that they have taken. So, all these brings us towards the end of the lecture today. Thank you.